President Biden committed to long-term disaster assistance this weekend as he and the First Lady got a first-hand look at Hurricane Idalia's aftermath. Idalia stormed ashore the Gulf Coast as a Cat 3 this week, and as of today, 13 Florida counties are included in a major disaster declaration. Miami-Dade and Broward and Monroe are not among them. We dodged it this time, but the two latest ice storms, Ian and Idalia, have current and critical lessons for South Florida. On the ground for both, FEMA's Federal Coordinating Officer Brett Howard joining us today from Tallahassee. Brett Howard, welcome to the program.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm glad to be here.
So I want to start right off the bat with, from our point of view, one of the clearest lessons of this storm that we could see from afar is the effect of successful evacuations. And I wonder if you would sort of, from the ground there, tell us what you saw, how people really did heed the call for evacuations, and what a difference that made.
I have to agree with you. Looking at from the onset of the storm, when the meteorologists at the Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service Forecast Office, along with the local meteorologists, identified this storm really early, and we're able to start making preparations a lot earlier than you would normally see a Gulf storm, which allowed the local officials to really hammer home the threat. The Hurricane Center nailed the forecast. They were exactly right. It went where they thought it was going to go with the impacts. So that allowed the local first responders and the local elected officials, and along with the state officials, to really hammer home that message that you need to evacuate and what appropriate actions to take. And the most important, as you just said, was that people actually heeded the evacuation. We didn't see a tremendous loss of life. There was loss of life, which is always really bad, but you didn't see it like you did in Ian, and that's really good. We're really pleased that it actually appears people did take responsibility and do what they needed to do to protect themselves and their families.
You know, let me talk a little bit about what you just said. The Hurricane Center nailed the predictions, nailed the cone. That is, you know, usually the case is they're pretty accurate, but the storm itself is always at the end unpredictable. So when lay people and residents of any particular area are watching and waiting, do you think that this time, unlike Ian, in Idalia, nobody really knew how accurate it was going to be, just like in hurricanes past. So what was it this time that people decided to go?
I wish I could answer that question. I think the past, right? You look at what happened with Hurricane Ian, and people saw what happens when you don't, and just not willing to take the chance. This was a really fast moving storm. You didn't experience the high velocity winds for an extreme amount of time. It was hours. It wasn't a day, and when it spun up, it strengthened very quickly and it moved very rapidly. So it allowed us to, and the forecast in my layman's terms, it didn't move that much like you saw with Ian and it wobbling back and forth. This pretty much stayed on the track and did what the Hurricane Center expected it to do. As it strengthened, it's going to move northwest, and it did. And we had enough time to prepare, and people did it. And I couldn't be more pleased with the efforts from the locals in the state to get the message out, and people acted. And I think it's from looking at Ian and what happened there. We're coming up on a 1-year anniversary, September 28th of last year.
That was a
so
fast
it's still
year,
in everybody's mind.
That felt like a fast year.
It has been.
So I know you can't see the video that we're looking at, and as we're talking, you in Tallahassee can't see this, but we were looking at some pretty horrifying video of the aftermath of Idalia, including major storm surge flooding, fires, destroyed homes. real damage, a loss of life so minimal as you were saying. So that's a good part. But this is an area of the state that is fairly rural, suburban rural. It's not like Miami-Dade or Fort Lauderdale, big major buildings. What can extrapolate for us if you can? Had Idalia been in a different course, what would have South Florida's danger would have been more of the storm surge and less than the wind, and that's kind of what we keep hearing. Do you see that this case might have been just like that?
Yes, take this storm and put it anywhere else in Florida, and you have a totally different outcome. Uh, the you've got the shelf there in the Gulf. You've got different topographical issues. You've got a major population. You have a lot of trees and a big canopy there that can help with the wind. You get to South Florida and it's open, it's buildings, it's a totally different storm anywhere else in Florida.
And so thank goodness it didn't come here. I guess it's what everyone's sorry right now. The state and federal unified command that you are working with, that would be along with Florida's Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie as the director, who's been on this program. Right now, we understand you are still in search and rescue status. Is that true?
We finished up the federal requirement for search and rescue was completed yesterday, and I think the state has pretty much completed their search and rescue efforts today. And so we're really at this point moving into recovery as we have our staff on the ground and meeting with survivors and trying to connect them with federal assistance. The response piece outside of the electrical, outside of the getting power restored, but the search and rescue pieces we have completed.
And I think there's Miami's and Miami-Dade's search and rescue teams are there. I guess that they would be working under the auspices of the state. I know they were part of that effort.
Yes, the state of Florida has a very robust search and rescue network throughout the state. I think they have as many as 8 teams that are highly qualified for search and rescue and building collapse and those specialties. And where this storm was, they were able to activate most every one of those teams, if not every one, and bring them to Tallahassee, to the area of impact to start. So it was minimum support from the federal government, but we still employed 6 federal search and rescue assets to assist them. So it was quite a large search and rescue operation, and the state did a tremendous job using what they have existing in the state.
You know, I was reading, Mr. Howard, a little bit about your background, and it's kind of stunning to see that you've been what they call the FCO, the FEMA's Federal Coordinating Officer for 21 presidential disasters. That's pretty stunning. And I wonder if from that perch, you can sort of give us some context as we head into what is the height of hurricane season here in Florida. What have you seen? What are your observations on any kind of trends, be it sea level rise or atmospheric? Do you see any kind of trend coming that you can sort of observe for us?
I can't really speak on that, but what I can tell you is, as like you mentioned, my job is to be the federal coordinating officer, and it is my sole focus to focus on helping the state of Florida right now, and being able to be here before, during, and after disasters. And that is my focus, is helping these survivors. And you're right, we're in the middle of hurricane season, and we're in the height of hurricane season. The season is not over. It is so important that people don't let their guard down. We've had one, and that's all. It only takes one to be a bad hurricane season. The predictions can be what they are, but when you have one hurricane, it's a bad season, and it's not over. So everybody needs to stay alert, be prepared, and if you're not sure what to do, go to our website at FEMA. That we've got a lot of good information on there at disasterassistance.gov if you need to register.
And
for federal assistance.
we actually have all of that right on our website. We make it very easy. We are so on board with you on getting people prepared. So we have all of that readily available to our viewers. Brett Howard, so appreciate your time. I know you are so busy up there, and we are very grateful that you spent a couple of minutes with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right,
Thank you,
take
ma'am.
care.